Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Mary Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up in this week's top stories, massive gas explosion late Thursday night rocked Kaohsiung, Taiwan. Tzu Chi volunteers care for plane crash survivor Chen Peihua inspires her father to adopt vegetarianism. And love from Taiwan in the form of rice reaches Lesotho, South Africa to help those in need. We start today's show with some tragic news. Late Thursday night, a series of explosions rocked the streets of Kaohsiung, Taiwan. The death toll continues to rise, with 25 people currently reported dead, including 4 firefighters as of noon, August the 1st. To offer their assistance, teams of Tzu Chi volunteers headed to different hospitals to provide some comfort. In the dead of the night, an explosion lights up the sky. Suddenly, the night is filled with the sounds of destruction. The gas explosion was the first of a series of blasts that shook the area. Strong gas fumes linger in the air as rescuers work to cover the affected area. The explosion crumbled roads, covered roadside cars in ashes, and rocked local residents' hearts.
I was shivering from the fright. I didn't know what was going on. It felt like a bomb hit us. The noise was deafening. My heart is still racing.
I feel awful because I saw residents who were injured.
The suddenness and violence of the blast was behind the large number of injuries and fatalities reported. Rescuers continue to move the injured out from among the debris. However, fear there might be residents still buried alive in the rubble. The Kaohsiung city government, in the meantime, has set up a command post at Wuchen Elementary School and has asked the military for assistance in evacuating residents. Covered in bandages from head to toe, burn victims from the explosion arrive at the hospitals.
I just heard a loud blast. My younger brother fell into a hole in the street. He was able to climb out and call for help.
Hospitals large and small in and around the Kaohsiung area have called in reinforcements to help handle the overflow of patients seeking treatment.
We mobilize our entire medical staff. The ICU is also fully staffed. Those patients with minor injuries are being treated in the emergency room.
Due to the enormity of the catastrophe, many of the first responders suffered injuries.
There was nowhere to run. There was fire everywhere. I was surrounded.
Also mobilized to help are Tzu Chi volunteers who are ready to offer comfort to grieving family members who lost their loved ones in this tragic accident. Among those injured in the Trans-Asia Airways crash in Penghu, Taiwan, was Chen Peihua, who was later transferred to a hospital in Taichung City for brain surgery. Since Chen was admitted to the hospital, Tzu Chi volunteers have been there every day to look after her father. Touched by the volunteers' selfless dedication, Mr. Chen vowed to adopt a vegetarian diet.
Accepting a bamboo coin bank from Tzu Chi volunteers is Mr. Chen, whose daughter Chen Peihua was one of the few survivors of the Trans-Asian Airways plane crash. Chen says he's grateful for all the support he has received in the days since the tragedy.
We need to bless ourselves and help those in greater need. By adopting Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank, I hope to help the less fortunate.
With Tzu Chi volunteers by his side every step of the way, Mr. Chen is now much more at ease. As Chen Peihua's condition has recently improved, Mr. Chen sees the chance to thank the volunteers.
The Tzu Chi brothers and sisters have been praying for my daughter. I believe she heard their words. Peihua will continue to fight for survival.
Currently, Chen Peihua's level of consciousness has improved from 3 to 6, and her intracranial pressure has also decreased. Under the volunteers' encouragement, Mr. Chen has decided to go vegetarian and even join in the chanting of the Earth Treasury Sutra at the local Tzu Chi chapter.
Sometimes we'll offer him fruits or soup. Although it's not much, all the food is filled with Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care.
Volunteers also offer Mr. Chen consolation cash and Master Zheng's letter of condolence, giving him the strength and courage to carry on.
In preparation of this year's winter relief distribution in China, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived in Gansu province to understand the needs of residents. Led by the foundation's deputy CEO, Wang Duanzhen, volunteers met up with local officials in Jingyuan County to conduct home visitations.
Gansu, the narrow corridor of China, has long intrigued visitors with its rich history, diverse culture, and unique landscape. However, drought has been a problem here for more than 1,000 years. In desolate Jingyuan County, people struggle daily to make ends meet.
It's difficult for children to go to school. Transportation is limited. There's hardly anything to eat or buy. At least there's the water cellar you built for us.
Tzu Chi's affinity with Gansu residents began with the construction of water cellars. The project to improve locals' livelihood began in 1998, and the first water cellar was built right here in Jingyuan. In preparation for this year's winter aid distribution, volunteers have teamed up with the government to understand the needs of residents.
This year, we plan to concentrate our efforts in Jing'an Township. It is further in the mountains. Life is economically hard there, so we will be helping farmers in need of assistance.
We will bring them food and daily necessities. Due to limited access, they probably can't buy what they need.
For the 210 households that have moved to Laiyao Da'ai village, those days of living in isolation are long gone.
Life was very difficult without water. Our home was also in poor shape. Now we have access to water and a nice home. Our life is so much better. There's even a school here.
Moving residents down from the mountains to be closer to the Yellow River was the largest ever relocation project undertaken by Tzu Chi. But to truly help people here escape poverty will take time and continuous support of volunteers.
In the United States, a fire broke out in an apartment building in East Oakland, California on July 13th. Upon learning of the news, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately mobilized to help the affected families.
A fire that broke out in East Oakland, California, destroyed 10 houses in this apartment building. After being informed by the local Red Cross, volunteers immediately mobilized to ready emergency cash for the affected families.
My home was burnt down, lost everything. But then God blessed me with this foundation because it helps out a lot.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy.
18 residents who had lost everything in the fire came to the local Tzu Chi liaison office to seek help and received cash cards and travelers' checks to help them get through this difficult time.
We are dedicated to helping those in need. They're very moved by the assistance we've extended to them, and subsequently, we're eager to learn more about our organization and why we volunteers are so willing to help others.
Before leaving, volunteers prepared some vegetarian meals for the fire survivors so they may have the strength to concentrate their efforts on rebuilding their homes and lives.
Taiwan's Council of Agriculture has provided the southern African country of Lesotho with 120 tons of rice this year. At their most recent distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers provided rice to 33 impoverished villages, with most of the work carried out by local volunteers. Despite it being their first time executing such a task, the volunteers all learned a great deal from the experience.
When we left this morning, it was 5 degrees below zero. Now we're heading to Hasetu. The road we're taking today is a little bumpy.
It is bitterly cold in Lesotho this year. Today, villagers brave the cold and wait patiently at the distribution venue. Volunteers take some time to interact with the villagers, and in no time, they break out in song and dance. Volunteers are distributing some 2,000 bags of rice to 33 villages in Matukeng and Hasetu. Taking into account that those coming to receive the rice are mainly women and children, each bag of rice was specifically packaged into 10 kilograms.
We eat mice meal almost every day. Now that we have this rice, we can eat it once a week to add more variety to our diet.
So you are going to eat with my grandmother?
So you stay with your granny?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are very happy. She's going to be very happy to see this rice here. Thank you, Tzu Chi. Thank you, Taiwan.
In the past, winter distributions in Lesotho were executed under the leadership of Taiwanese volunteers. However, this year, the baton was handed down to local volunteers from Matukeng. Although there is a first time for everything, local volunteers learned a great deal from the experience.
Thank you, Master Chen for your guidance and teachings. It gave us the confidence and strength to carry out these rice distributions.
Smiles blossom on the residents' faces upon receiving the rice. This love from Taiwan not only warms stomachs, but hearts as well.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Ladysmith, South Africa recently held several winter aid distributions for the poor. Distributions were held in the primarily black communities of Blue Bank, Rossboom, and St. Chad's. And to thank the volunteers for their assistance, locals literally danced and sung for joy.
Song and dance are often used in South Africa to express feelings of gratitude and joy. Today, here in the poorer black communities of Ladysmith, locals are doing just that. Today, Tzu Chi volunteers are handing out rice from Taiwan as part of their winter aid distribution. During the distribution, songs are sung in several languages as both recipients and volunteers express their gratitude. Carrying their bags of rice on their heads, recipients willingly share their joy for the camera.
It's good rice. Rises up a lot, maybe 4 months or so.
Oh, okay.
Happiness, it turns out, is not so complicated. And here in Africa, Tzu Chi will continue to work to spread that happiness across the continent.
In Singapore, Tzu Chi volunteers recently held a 3-day, 2-night Tzu Chi volunteer training seminar at the local Jingsi Hall. Thanks to local Tzu Chi volunteers' dedication to look after their trainees, the 188 trainees were able to focus on their lessons and thus gain a better understanding of the Buddhist NGO's philosophy and history.
At the Jingsi Hall in Singapore, 188 trainees gathered together to attend a 3-day, 2-night Tzu Chi volunteers training seminar. By attending the seminar, trainees hope to learn more about the history and philosophy of the Buddhist NGO.
Normally, the Tzu Chi volunteers training seminar is only about 4 to 6 hours. It is very hard for trainees to absorb all the Dharma in such a short period of time. At this seminar, trainees will have more time to learn about the Buddhist NGO.
Master Chen was 29 years old when Tzu Chi Foundation first started carrying out charity missions.
Upon learning of Master Chen's early vow to establish a Buddhist NGO, many trainees were left more determined than ever to walk the Tzu Chi path.
I'm truly impressed by Master Chen's determination to overcome all obstacles to conduct charity missions. I need to believe in the Master's teachings and walk steadfast on the Bodhisattva path.
To help trainees learn about Tzu Chi's 4 major missions, senior Tzu Chi volunteers shared their experiences with the trainees. Among those listening closely was Cambodia volunteer Pan Xiaotong.
I want to become a certified Tzu Chi volunteer, so I need to attend the volunteers training seminars to learn more.
进来的应该也要多多呢去了解过去慈济如何成立，我们现在的法脉宗门呢要如何在人世间去推动。
Following a video conference call with Master Zheng Yan, Singapore volunteers have rediscovered their initial aspiration and promised to shoulder Tzu Chi's charity missions in the future.
I hope everyone can concentrate on the class.
I hope everyone can go home full of the Dharma.
We need to follow closely in the Master's footsteps. Reception volunteers will try their best to work with the trainees.
Meanwhile, prior to the Tzu Chi Volunteers Training Seminar in Singapore, local Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to create a welcoming atmosphere for the trainees. As there weren't enough pillows, volunteers decided to work some magic.
Each pillowcase will be filled with a blanket. We need to make sure it is put in nicely and looks smooth from the outside.
Volunteers transformed the parking lot of the Jingsi Hall into a dining hall, while tables and chairs were set up outside of the hall to give trainees the opportunity to interact with one another. Furthermore, the flower arrangement room and the multi-purpose room were turned into dorms. Each step not only tests the volunteers' wisdom, but also their teamwork skills.
First of all, volunteers of the housekeeping team moved all the luggage to the outside of the Sutra lecture hall. Inside the lecture hall, volunteers prepared bedding for the trainees. It seemed like mission impossible, but the volunteers were able to do it.
To help trainees experience the hardship Master Zheng Yan and Jingsi Abode Dharma masters went through during the early years, kitchen volunteers prepared pickled tofu.
They endured so much hardship, but were still determined to carry on.
With senior Tzu Chi volunteers as their role models, the trainees all go home with a better understanding of what it takes to be a Tzu Chi volunteer.
To celebrate Eid al-Fitr, Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers visited a senior center and a center for cancer patients to help spread some familial warmth. And in Malaysia, students of the Kuala Lumpur Da'a Educare Center learned about the religious festival that's helping them learn to respect people from different backgrounds.
In Malaysia, students of the Kuala Lumpur Da'a Educare Center are learning of the culture of the Malay people in Eid al-Fitr. In this culturally diverse nation, children learn to respect and cherish people of different backgrounds at an early age. To get the class in a celebratory mood, teachers had students make the customary coconut leaf wrapped rice dumpling a day earlier, a task that also helps strengthen the children's hand-eye coordination.
This art project will help strengthen the children's hand-eye coordination. They must learn to control the muscles in their hands. This will help them learn to hold a pencil properly, so they will be able to write better in the future.
By learning about different ethnicities and religions at an early age, the children quickly learn to be understanding and tolerant. To help welcoming Eid al-Fitr, Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia visit a senior center in Bogor. As it has been several months since their last visit, volunteers are warmly greeted by the residents.
We visit here every 2 months to check on the center's residents. We have built up a strong bond with them. Because of Eid, we have come again. Other grandpas and grandmas are really happy to see us.
For Muslims, Eid is the equivalent of Chinese New Year, in which families come together to enjoy the holiday. To help pass on some familial warmth, volunteers take time to wash the seniors' feet.
When I washed their feet, I suddenly remembered my own mom who passed away 4 years ago. I never had the chance to wash her feet, so I treated these seniors as my mother. It's great to be able to carry out filial duties.
This is my first time doing this. I have never even washed my own mother's feet. When I go home, I want to do this for my mom too.
Volunteers bring the same festive mood to a center for cancer patients in Jakarta. 26-year-old Lida came here in March. Thanks to the volunteers, she is no longer depressed.
I don't have any family here in Jakarta. They're all back in Sumatra. So I'm very happy and touched whenever the Tzu Chi volunteers come visit. I cried earlier. To me, the volunteers are just like family.
Tzu Chi volunteers have brought joy and laughter to our patients. I have never seen a resident so happy. Though you are Buddhist, your love transcends all boundaries. It's truly amazing.
Universal love has no boundaries and binds us all together, making such a joyful occasions even more special and meaningful.
In Malaysia's Malacca, teacher Wu Xueli, and also Tzu Chi volunteer, has been inspiring students and other teachers to recycle on campus. Recently, for the celebration of the Eid al-Fitr, students and teachers used the proceeds they received from selling their recyclables to buy daily necessities for impoverished families.
Here at the Air Baruch Primary School in Malaysia's Malacca, students and teachers are celebrating Eid al-Fitr. To mark this occasion, Tzu Chi volunteer Wu Xueli asked students to donate the proceeds they received from selling recyclables to buy gifts for 10 impoverished families.
We hope that the 10 families can enjoy the Eid al-Fitr holiday as joyously as other families.
I'm very happy. I want to thank teacher Wu Xueli and the other teachers who are involved in the recycling campaign. Thanks to them, impoverished students can also enjoy the Eid al-Fitr holiday. I'm really happy for them.
Recipients who join the school's recycling campaign also experience firsthand the benefits of doing good deeds.
I was very moved upon receiving the aid. This is my first time receiving a gift subsidized by recycling funds. It's a privilege to meet these lovely teachers and students, over whom are really compassionate and helpful.
These daily necessities can ease my family's burden. Rice and oil are expensive now. We are very lucky. Thank you very much.
In the future, I will still bring recyclables back to the school for recycling because it can benefit my family too. I'm very fortunate to have been helped.
At this year's Eid al-Fitr, students have come to understand how small gestures can make a difference.
The building of Tzu Chi's prefabricated homes continues in Shansha, New Taipei City. And besides those preparing the materials, there is also a group of volunteers dedicated to the smooth running of the project. At the end of the show, we bring you images of these behind-the-scenes volunteers. Thank you for watching. See you next week.